the last section we want to talk about is, okay, now we are able to, we built the infrastructure, we are able to detect whether we had thresholds or not, other devices, or other security tools were able to detect, we're able to enrich them. How do we keep things, making sure that we are not deteriorating? So the last section is going to be around validate. It's about compliance, auditing, making sure that we're still meet the requirements. And I'm Ron Vo, I'm the CTO of cPacket. And with me is Andy Barnes, who is our Senior Director of Technical Marketing. And it should be a relatively straightforward story. Why do we need validation? Because all the physics majors here, you know, if you don't actually invest in keeping your room in order, things will deteriorate, right? And in security, it means new threats that you didn't update, outdated rules, misconfiguration, broken integration, and that leads to, you know, compliance breakdown. Again, we deal a lot with financial services and healthcare. One of the things that they like the least is to be called to a regulator to explain why things are not as they should be, right? And what we are able to do is using DPI, and I think I touched that, I didn't explain too much about it. We do have our own cPacket inspection engine inside our C-store. That's different than the string match. The string match is a string match, right? This is a hardware-based, nice IP that is very useful. It's able to match packets at 1 second. When we say DPI, or at least DPI in this context, even though it stands for deep packet inspection, what we mean is the ability to break down the protocol and extract the relevant information for the understanding the protocol. So again, we've done that mostly for network observability reasons, right? We break down HTTPS transactions to understand the performance of each server. We break down DNS transactions to understand what domains people are accessing, what applications to avoid manual configuration. We break down LDAP because it's one of the biggest issues that network operation teams have. So we do that and we prioritize, and you know, it's not that we have 75 different database decoders. We are very focused on the ones that really bring value to our customers. It so happens that some of that is relevant to security too, right? So the way that it works, our C-store, in addition to generating all the TCP metrics, it generates all the metadata and performance data that is relevant to understand specific protocols. Again, HTTPS, handshakes, DNS, LDAP. We have other monitoring that are less relevant here for video and for VPNs and whatnot. But for now, I think I'm just going to focus on the DNS and the TLS parser. Okay. So what do we do with that? So again, this is the clear. This is the device that Andy was showing you before. It's a little different page, but this is the main controller, and I'm just going to show you a couple of dashboards that we're using today. One of them is making sure that your servers are in compliance. So servers, like HTTPS servers in compliance, mean you want certificates to be up to date, and you want to make sure that every transaction stays with TLS 1.2, 1.3, doesn't, you know, you don't get a client that is able to take you down, or you don't get a client that is able to pull you down with unsecure cipher suite, right? So you have to one side monitor all the servers as a baseline, and then making sure that each transaction is still protected, right? So that's the information that we have, right? So we are able to count how many servers. Again, this is our live network, how many servers we have, who is using TLS 1.2, do we have anything that is using SSL? We certainly, you know, in our network, we run a lot of replays, so we see that. And what type of certificates, what type of certificates? Do we have anything that expired? And you can see that we do have that. And do we have any transactions that went down and didn't stay in TLS 1.3? That's one. The second one, I'm going to use video. And the reason I'm going to use video is one of the things that we invested in, I mentioned it before, everybody's talking about agentic AI. So we do have now agents that are able to query both of the AI solution we have, as well as the raw data that we have in cClear. One of the things that we have found out is that they are somewhat temperamental. So you may get a somewhat simpler, different answer if you ask the same question. So we decided to record it. But what you're seeing here is the DNS, monitoring. And what we're using for DNS monitoring is really, let me stop just 1 second, is monitor all the, will I be able to go back? Oh, it didn't stop. So what we're using, this thing is not the same. We'll see in a second. So what we're using the DNS is to see all the domains that were accessed over the last 24 hours. So what we saw is that that's a lot of data, right? So what we asked for is, okay, go back to the data that you have in cClear. Tell me if you find any unknown domains. And we define unknown domains by either it's not a known CSP, it's not a known CDN. We also access the Cisco umbrella CSV to the top 1 million sites and said, bring me everything that is not there. All right, so it's not something that you know of. And it's potentially, the domain name was potentially generated by a DGA, domain generator algorithm, right? So it came back, it said, okay, here are the things that seems weird. I think we kind of looked through, so one of them, okay, I still understand. But then you can come back and say, okay, tell me now for that specific domain that I'm not sure who went and got this data, right? So this is really kind of leaves you, I think the interesting thing that for me is really, it's pretty powerful tool because it does go and get you some more data. And it allows me to not predefine the thresholds, the workflows, and all that, right? If I get a security expert that has somewhat different way of thinking about problems, they can still work on top of LLM and still get all the data. All right. So if you
sorry,
yeah,
this is Sarah Christensen. Just really quickly, I see SQL queries running.
Yes.
Whenever I see AI and SQL queries, I ask what stops it from doing an insert or a drop table. And you had mentioned it's temperamental. So I'm curious about what kinds of controls are in place to protect against model poisoning, prompt injection, improper data sanitization, all of that.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Yeah, it's a great question. So actually what you're seeing is not exactly SQL. We're running on top of InfluxDB. So what you're seeing is influx questions. And what we did with the agent, we only allowed, we sanitized the requests. We only allow show and select. So in Influx, it's pretty easy to make sure that they don't do any write or drop operations. But similarly for, you don't really want to give the agent direct access to your database for that, right? So you will, this is why we needed the agent, right? So the agent the agent performs two things. One is some level of protection. The other thing that we found out is that if you see the code, it's a great for an English literature graduate because it has pages and pages of explanation to the model where the data should be and how to run the query. And I think this whole notion of prompt engineering is coming. So these are the two reasons that you need to develop the agent, and you can, for us right now, versus just let it, go to the database uncontrolled.
So this is not available yet, or?
It's not in production, no. This is running in our lab today. Yeah, yeah. So the code is there. So we have, if you saw in the beginning, we do have the agents for all of them. We haven't released them. And actually, some of the challenges of releasing them is many of our customers don't really want to have any access to an LLM. So what I was demonstrating now is Anthropic Cloud, right? Claude.
So you can't run it locally?
I run it locally, but I have access to the model.
Okay.
So the desktop was running locally, but it was using a model from the internet.
Yeah. So you don't have the ability to run the
model locally.
Yeah.
We do. We haven't found that they're good enough to. They're not good enough yet.
Okay.
Yeah. So the ones that are able to run locally are just not good enough.
Ron, with all the analytics and even the AI LLM stuff, is it possible to bring in a packet capture that your system didn't capture and let your system do the analytics on it? So if I get a packet capture from some other system and I got this suite of great analytics tools, how do I get your tools to analyze that packet capture?
Yeah, we do that all the time. So we replay through, I mean, a lot of the things that you're seeing here is by replaying pickup files that we have from users, customers we generated. Also, the packet capture itself has the ability to replay. So if you did capture it on our, then we can replay it. But this is really if you want to replay it in real time, 100 gigabit per second or more. But if you just want to analyze it, you can take any server and send it to us.
Okay.
Yeah, we certainly do that all the time.
So you guys, I mean, I don't want to replay it through the network.
Of course.
I just want your tool to break down all the packets and sessions and stuff. So then, I think the huge value in the LLM is interacting with, natural language to get to packets. Like I'm very fortunate enough, I memorized most of the display filters in Wireshark.
Yeah.
But for people who didn't, they just want to ask questions.
Yes.
Show me the packets that do this.
Yes.
And I think it's great if you guys captured them, but if you didn't capture them, but I have the capture.
Yes. Yeah, you just take a server, TCP replay, and connect it to one of our packet broker ports. You don't have to run it on the network again.
Okay, but you guys don't have like a file import or upload option. That's kind of what I was getting at.
Yeah.
In your UI or your web, your web UI, I need to be able to like upload a PCAP for analysis.
We can. We didn't expose it as a feature today.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
We have what we call reports, so we can capture packets. We can upload them. There is an API to do that. It's not an easy UI access.
Okay. Thanks.
Sure. We got one slide left, so we are wrapping up now. So that is pretty much what we've got for you guys today. Again, the main point that we made throughout, hopefully successfully, was that network observability is not a replacement, but really can augment and strengthen your security posture. And so we'd love to get validation from this. Again, this is our first time doing a security field day, so we just kind of threw it all out there. And by all means, we are very interested in learning from the community as well. So please provide feedback, talk to your teams, and validate the use cases that we presented. And if there's any specific problems that you have, we'd love to try and help. That QR code there is actually an email. This is dangerous to me and to the team. So feel free to reach out directly, and we'd love to, again, engage further after this.